Biggest mistake number one, mindset. When we don't change how we think, we're never going to change how we eat. Let's be honest. Okay, for me anyway. When I was happy, I ate. When I was sad, I ate. When I was mad, I ate. When I was tired, I ate. When I was bored, I ate. When I had too much energy, I ate. When I had no energy, I ate. See the pattern going on here? I needed to change here first. I needed to learn to deal with emotions and events where it didn't relate to food, where I found an actual solution or a workaround for them before I actually started losing weight. So that is the number one problem people have and mistakes people make on keto. They don't work on this. That's something that has to change. You need to change the way you think so you will change the way you eat. Number two, consuming too many calories in the evenings. That's part of the problem. Most of us are scheduled to eat our biggest meal at night, and that's okay if that's what you do. But you need to make sure you have it as early in the evening as possible, so that way your body has time to digest those foods and that you're not going to bed on a full stomach. We don't want to do that. We want to consume our calories as early in the day as possible. So if you can, switch your meals around to where your biggest meal is your lunch and your lighter meal is dinner. That's perfect. If you can't, that's okay too. Just try and stop eating like at 6 o'clock at night so your body has time to digest it. We don't want to sleep with all those calories. We want to have a nice, peaceful rest without the calories. Next mistake people make on keto is sugar substitutes. Yeah. Now, let me tell you my story. I'm Chris. I'm a chocoholic, and I'm not joking. I love chocolate. That was the hardest thing for me to do. So what I did was I thought, oh, no problem. I can just use sugar substitutes. Yep, you can. But number one, you're having a weight loss stall. And number two, you're going to continue the cravings. I know it stinks to think about giving it up. I totally get it. But you are better off just cutting it right then and there and just going through the misery. It doesn't last very long. And then what happens when you learn to not reach for the sugar treats, whether they're sugar or sugar substitutes, then we learn to find other ways to deal with our situation at that moment. And we find other things to eat too that do satisfy us. Now, what's amazing about that is we don't have to give it up forever. Just for now, just this little tiny time. We get rid of the cravings, we settle into our new lifestyle. Then, occasionally, when we make a conscious choice, we can have our sugar treats. But they are now the exception, not the rule. And that's the way to do it. Because you don't want to continue to have those cravings. Those cravings are miserable. So get to them, get through them, and get them done with. Then, when you're ready, start having occasional snacks and treats that you will absolutely love and enjoy, but you have them once in a while. Fats is the other problem that most people make a mistake on. Now, we've already talked about that, but I just want to hit it here again because it is a very common mistake. People think of keto as only high fats, right? And that's true at the beginning. But every month, you really honestly need to lower those fats because your body is going to use the fats you feed it first. And then it will go after your stored fats. Now, once you get your hunger under control, you need to start lowering those fats a little bit at a time. So your body has less fats to use that you fed it and more time to go after your stored fats. After all, isn't that why we're doing keto? Number 5, using the wrong keto ingredients. Now, just because it's keto doesn't mean it's going to help you lose weight. It's fine for maintaining, but it's not going to help you lose weight. And a lot of us really splurge on certain items. So let's talk about sugar substitutes. We've already talked about that. Cut those out. Just cut them out. If you cut the sugar substitutes out, you're going to find that you're going to immediately start dropping weight again. The other issue is nuts and nut flours. They absolutely will cause you weight loss stalls. So while you're trying to lose weight, use those sparingly. Use those as treats, but don't use them on a regular basis. Nuts and nut flours will absolutely cause weight loss stalls. Now the hard one that people don't want to give up. Dairy. It will absolutely cause you weight loss stalls. So use it sparingly. Use dairy sparingly. Now a lot of people like to use heavy cream for their coffee. Try almond milk. You want flavorings for your coffee? Get some different little bottles of extract and just put a little tiny drop in there until you find the flavor that works for you. So combine the almond milk, and I know it's made out of nuts, I get that, but it's pretty diluted. So use almond milk and extract, and that will get you a great cup of coffee where you don't need to use the dairy and you don't need to use the sugar substitutes or the flavorings that have sugar substitutes in them. So if you are having a problem with keto, first things you want to do is knock out the sugar substitutes, knock out the nuts and nut flours, and knock out the dairy. And that will push you along your journey, which is what we want, right? The next issue, the next biggest mistake, focusing on the scales. I know, right? You want to follow your progress. I totally get that. But do you know if you weighed yourself right this very second and you weighed yourself half an hour from now, it's probably going to have two different weights on there. And that can be so discouraging. Or it can get you overexcited. So let's say one day, whoa, I lost 5 pounds. And then the next day you gain 2 pounds back. You're like, oh no, what did I do? You didn't do anything. It's just your body. It's just the way the scales work. Best way to see how you're losing weight is how your clothes feel. That's the best way. If you want to watch your progress, get one size pair of pants down from where you are now. So if you wear a 16, buy a size 14 and try those on every week. Those don't lie. The scales absolutely will lie. And if you get yourself discouraged, you're going to end up quitting. And you don't want to do that. You are on this journey. You're on this journey for a lifetime. So don't let something stop you. Don't let the scales stop you. Stay off the scales and just go by how your clothes fit and buy that size smaller pair of pants and try those on when you get discouraged. But don't let the scales overexcite you, because then next week you'll be like, wait, I only lost 2 pounds this week. I lost 5 last week. You don't want to do that, because that will discourage you. So stay off of the scales. Focus on how your clothes fit. That is the only way to really know if you're succeeding. And lastly, electrolytes. I know I keep talking about electrolytes because they're so important, but there's something else to look at. So we no longer eat the junk food. We cut that all out. So now our bodies are depleted of our magnesium, our potassium, and our sodium. Those are our electrolytes. That's called medium chain triglycerides. So we need to supplement our bodies with that, right? Now there's lots of electrolyte packages out there that are supposedly keto, but I want to talk to you about those. So if you look at those powders that you can add to water, do you realize they're 3 to 7 carbs per packet? Per packet. So if you drink the amount of water you're supposed to drink and you're using those packets, you've had all your carbs or more for the day, and you haven't even taken a bite of food. I can feed you 3 meals a day, 3 filling meals, keep you full all day long for less carbs than those packets have. So if you are using those packets and you're eating your meals, you're over your carbs already. So you don't want to do that. Use the liquid or the capsules that only have the electrolytes that you need, the magnesium, potassium, and sodium. Just focus on those. The liquid, I've heard, doesn't taste good when you add to water, but if you add to coffee and tea, it tastes fine. The pills are just pills you take, and that's all they have are your magnesium, your potassium, and sodium. And that's what you have to do. So really, truly, to enjoy this journey, don't make these 7 mistakes. Focus on these 7 mistakes, because if you don't, you could end up quitting. And you know, the only person that's going to lose if you quit is you. We don't want you to do that. So check out these 7 common mistakes. See if you're making any of them, or write them down so that way you don't make them, because they will help you succeed.